Hey there, grumpy old fart here. I'm doing a cryptid activity video here. This is not. I honestly I was not going to do this, but a friend of mine brought it up, and I did a video on hoaxes earlier. I don't know if this is a hoax or not. I honestly do not know. It could be absolutely real. All right, but my friend brought it up, and he thinks it's a hoax, and I did a little bit of investigating, and I honestly don't know. So here we go. The Sierra Sounds. Before I get into this, though, if you enjoy my content, it would really help me out if you could hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share my content on all of your social media platforms, and post a comment or two. Remember, I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. And check me out over on Rumble for my political commentary and weekly current events. If you enjoy a good book, check out my author page on Amazon.com. My pen name is H.L. Anderson. You can find all of my books there, including the one pictured here, The House Off Farrago Road. It is a fun story about a house in New Orleans where the monsters all hang out. The inhabitants of the house, the people who live there, are not quite normal. It's just, I wrote it as a friend of mine. He didn't challenge me, but he said that he was a huge fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and nobody could do anything like it. And I said, I could probably write something like that. And he goes, nah, you can't do that. So here it is. The House Off Farrago Road. I hope you get it. I hope you like it. There's a lot of other stuff there on my author page. You got to find something you like. All right? Here we go. The Sierra Sounds. In 1972, Ron Moorhead and 6 other hunters recorded sounds which do not sound human and they closely resemble vocal tracks. These recordings were made in the Sierra Nevada mountains, hence the name the Sierra Sounds. According to Moorhead, the recordings are some type of communications between two Sasquatch or Bigfoot creatures, a male and a female. Linguistics, well, they've got a lot of other ones too. I imagine they're not all between male and female, but the ones that I heard were. So, linguistics and vocal expert Scott Nelson has analyzed the sounds and has determined that the sounds are a verbal communication between two non-human beings in an unknown language. Scott Nelson is a cryptologic technician interpreter trained by the Navy. He calls himself a crypto-linguist. Now, according to Mr. Nelson, there is no way to decipher the language without a much broader range of samples from a larger variety of the creatures using the language. And that makes sense to me. I mean, if you hear 10 words in Russian and you don't know anything about Russians, yeah, it's gonna be tough to decipher that. 10 or 12 sentences ain't gonna get it done. You got to have a much more broad range. So that makes sense. Since the initial recordings, Moorhead and Nelson have made many trips into the same area trying to get more recordings. But the few times they have been able to get more recordings is still too sparse to try and work out any kind of translation of the language. And I completely understand that. I don't imagine a Bigfoot creature, being the master of its domain, would get close enough to a human to be recorded and then have a conversation. That's pretty freaking rare. So that makes sense to me. There are many skeptics who have heard these recordings and simply discount them as an elaborate hoax of some kind. Now, I got to be honest here. I've heard several samples. I listened to at least 7 samples. And these recordings, to me, they sound like someone took recordings of apes, coyotes, and maybe some other animal types and mixed them together. I am no expert in vocal sounds or linguistics, so my opinion counts for shit. I wouldn't know what to listen for. If I heard that and it was 2 human beings talking and I heard it at a distance, I would think they were talking a language I didn't understand. So there is that. But the sounds themselves, to me, sound like just animal sounds. Grunts and, whistles and other vocalizations. I have heard apes, dogs, coyotes, and other critters in the wild, and I love to hunt. To me, it sounds like a mix of various animals. So, but again, what would a Bigfoot language sound like? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I doubt they're speaking French or Romanian or whatever. I'm thinking that their language would be, they live in the wilds, unless they've got a hidden mega city back there. I'm thinking they're probably primitive. Grunts and whistles would be how they communicate. So I don't know. I'm on the fence about this. I don't know if it's real or not. If somebody knows of anybody who came forward and said, yeah, this is a hoax, we did it, blah, 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 then let me know, put it in the comments. I couldn't find anything like that, but I'm not perfect. Nobody is. Anyway, many people who are much more learned than I am have analyzed the sounds, and it seems to me that for every expert who says this is 100% real, there's another expert who says it's a hoax. Much like the Patterson-Gimlin film and the Roswell incident, this case has been examined, studied, and analyzed to death. Everybody with a half ounce of credibility has weighed in, and everybody's opinion is different. A little coffee there. They have been studied so in depth that literally battle lines have been drawn, and virtually every expert lines up in one camp or the other, to the extent that I doubt the validity of these recordings will ever be established or debunked. It's like a crime scene with so many investigators that they've destroyed the area for taking samples. You can't get any more samples because they've destroyed the area, you know. The Patterson-Gimlin film is very similar in the fact that for every expert every expert that you find that says, oh yeah, that's 100% real. You got another one who says, no, it's fake, look, blah, 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 you know. Recently, they found another Bigfoot creature in that film, hiding in the woods to the, I guess, beyond the creature in the woods. I don't know. But the point being, everybody has discussed this to the point to where it's all a jumble. Nobody can tell if it's real or not. If somebody has any more information, or if somebody has any insight, maybe if you saw an interview where somebody said it was a hoax, or you hear a recording where somebody says, hey, that sounds like, you know, a primitive form of some Polynesian language or something. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know if this is real or not. I'm only doing it because it's an intriguing prospect. If we have recordings of two Bigfoots communicating, and like the guy said, the woman won, that makes them a hell of a lot more human. And the camp of, we have to shoot one in order to prove it's real. No, that makes it that changes that whole dynamic there. If they are near human, we cannot kill them. If they're a form of, there's a whole lot of different human species on this planet that came before us. We're Homo sapiens. Before that was the Homo erectus and Homo whatever. There's dozens of different kinds. If we find one of them and shoot it in anything other than a self-defense capacity, to me, that's homicide, because they're all the same basic species. So anybody who thinks they need to shoot a Bigfoot to prove that they're real, I would have them listen to these sounds first. I don't know if they're real or not, but it's worth considering. That's all I'm saying. And again, if somebody else has any more information, put it in the comments. I'm sure we'd all love to read it. That's all I got for this one. I hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all.